Hello, my name is Aubrey. My daughter Abigail, my only child, was killed 2 years ago today by a drunk and reckless driver. The man responsible for her death was convicted on August 17th of 2021, and on that day, I read a victim impact statement out loud in the court. I have that statement here before me, and I'm going to read it. I think that it might be more meaningful if I share my words out loud rather than the print version. And I hope that this conveys what this did to my life. My world came crashing down in the wee hours of November 22nd, 2020. I woke up to feed the cats, and before getting back into bed, I saw dozens of missed calls from Abby's dad. My heart dropped in my stomach. I knew something must have happened to Abigail, but I was not prepared for what Danny told me on the phone. Our daughter had been in a car accident, and she didn't make it. I dropped to my knees and crawled around on the ground crying, yelling the word no over and over. I was in shock and denial. What I was being told didn't compute. There's no way my only beloved child could be gone. That's not even possible. The feeling that washed over me when I learned she had been killed is indescribable and worse than any pain I can even imagine in any other scenario. I relive that moment multiple times a day. My therapist says I'm suffering from PTSD along with depression and anxiety while also experiencing grief from the most profound loss of my entire life. I carried her under my heart for 9 months. Abigail Olivia Vanest, born October 19th, 1997. She had a crown of strawberry blonde peach fuzz hair on her beautifully shaped head. The doctor laid her across my chest, and I was looking into her baby blue eyes, which held the soul of my very own angel on earth. Abigail was the most pleasant, happy baby I have ever met. Her smile could light up 1,000 dark nights. Her laugh reverberated through my heart and soul. When Abby learned to say I love you, it came out a doo-doo, and we eventually shortened it to doo-doo. Every night before bed, every school drop-off, even into the teen years, doo-doo took the place of I love you. Abby was loving, kind, funny, sassy, and unafraid. She could be bashful at times, but brazen at others. When I would ask her what she wanted to be when she grew up, she said she wanted to own businesses. I asked, what kind of businesses? And she shrugged her little shoulders and simply replied, I don't know, just lots of businesses. Abby was multifaceted, and she marched to the beat of her own drum. My favorite thing about my relationship with Abby was all the laughing we did over the years. Real, deep down belly laughs. When Abby was 4 years old, I used to sing Smooth Criminal to her. I changed the lyric, Annie, are you okay, to Abby, are you okay? And it became kind of our thing. One day we were driving, and I hadn't heard a peep out of her from the back seat for a while. I asked, Abby, are you okay? And without warning, she sings back to me, yes, I am okay. And I laughed so hard, I had to pull over. I was laughing, she was laughing. And in that moment, we were in this bubble that felt like pure heaven. From that day on, it became our inside joke, so to speak. I'd ask if she was okay, and she'd sing her answer back to me. What an absolute joy she was, and my life is dark without her. I mentioned that Abby was multifaceted, and that is never more evident than looking back at her choices and recreational sports and activities. She was in dance, acrobats, gymnastics, t-ball, baseball, soccer, basketball, cheerleading, and tennis, to name a few. She was a horrible basketball player. She didn't care. She was going to try it out. And I recall watching her run up and down the court pretending like she knew what was going on, but actually avoiding any opportunity to take possession of the ball. She was willing to try anything to see if she liked it and or was any good at it. Cheerleading ended up being her jam, and I was so proud of her for going after what she wanted and achieving her goals. Abby pursued cosmetology in high school and earned her cosmetology license. At the same time, she graduated in 2016. She immediately landed a position at the salon she had her sights on. She was thriving, and she would often talk about how she wanted to branch out and work for herself someday. In October of 2018, I moved to Columbus for work, just as Abby was turning 21. This would mark the first time we would be apart. She stayed in the house we had been renting since 2011 in Perry Township, and she took over the rent payments. She was now truly independent, living on her own, paying her own bills, and blazing her own path. I was beyond proud of my daughter. A few months later, in January 2019, Abby adopted a beautiful puppy she named Blue. She went on many trips and outdoor adventures with her beloved dog. In the spring of 2020, Abby started her own business at the onset of the pandemic called Adore Studio, offering lash extensions, bridal hairstyles, and waxing. She was very brave to start a business in such uncertain times, but wildly successful within a few short months. This sparked an even bigger dream, one day owning a studio in which she would rent out lofts to other beauty business owners. Most of us are not in the career we dreamed of when we were little, but Abby was right on track to owning multiple businesses. I have no doubt, had she had the opportunity to continue being alive, she would have fulfilled her dreams. Speaking of dreams, she also wanted to have a family and children one day, but that possibility was taken from her with the sudden end to her life. My dreams were intertwined with her dreams. I bet my entire future on my baby girl. Not only did I lose my only child, but I have lost my future. I will never have grandchildren. I will never have my daughter and the children she should have gathered around my Christmas tree or my table at the holidays. Her future is gone and mine is shattered beyond recognition. I feel untethered to this world and often have passive thoughts of not wanting to be alive anymore. I ache for my daughter. I long to be reunited with her in heaven. I beg God regularly to either end my life or exchange my life for hers. I cry every single day, multiple times a day, while reliving the moment I learned my sweet girl wasn't alive anymore. I remember arriving at Abby's house in the aftermath. There was a piece of cornbread on the counter with a butter knife right beside it. There were dirty socks on the floor and also clean laundry waiting to be put away. I walked into her spare bedroom that she was in the midst of turning into a home office. There were handwritten lists and notes on her desk along with plans to expand her business. There were many other signs that Abby had fully intended to come back that fateful night of November 21st, 2020. I had the tough job of packing up and deconstructing my daughter's entire life. It took weeks of packing and sorting, and I stayed in her home, our home. I slept in her bed, drinking in her smell and crying enough tears to fill 1,000 oceans. I had a breakdown when I was transferring the clothes in her dresser to a bag to donate. I kept repeating, "I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, Abby." I felt extreme guilt that I was packing up her house, her clothes, her furniture. I felt like I was betraying her because surely she was about to walk through that front door, right? In addition to suffering from PTSD, reliving the moment I found out she was gone, depression, anxiety, and grief, I have isolated myself from most everyone I know, and/or most everyone I know has no idea what to say to me. Family relationships have been strained in the wake of such a terrible tragedy, and even when I am surrounded by people, I feel more alone than when I am actually alone. This is because nobody I know can relate to the pain and suffering of losing their only child and having also lost their future. No grandchildren, no legacy. Christmas and holidays will never be the same. I have nothing to look forward to. I am broken, irrevocably broken. This is a message directly to Mario from my victim impact. Your actions didn't just end her life that night, they ended mine. Your actions had a ripple effect that no mathematician could quantify. Abby was a beloved and devoted daughter, a loving sister to her brothers, a wonderful granddaughter, a silly niece, a much-loved cousin, and a fierce and loyal friend. So many in our community were affected by this loss. Many lives are forever altered. Abby's dog, Blue, was left without her doting human mom, and I'm forever grateful to Abby's best friend, Aaliyah, for adopting Blue and loving her the way Abby did. I don't know if you are remorseful, but your actions do not seem to align with someone who is sorry. The thing that makes this loss so much more difficult is the thought that the person responsible for my baby girl's death did not think of her as a human being that had value and a family who loved her, but rather as a thing that was happening to him, an inconvenience. I've really been struggling lately with the idea of which holds more weight, intent or impact. You may not have intended that Abigail would be a victim of your choices, but the impact of your choices and actions resulted in the death of a human being, and it doesn't seem like you truly grasp that. I suppose it's easy to close yourself off from feeling empathy toward a family you do not know. But what if it had been someone you know and love that died as a result of your choices and actions? That is what empathy is, placing yourself in the situation of another and feeling their feelings in an attempt to understand their pain. Empathy and remorse will get you farther in this life than pride, ego, and deflection. What is the price of a human life? That's a question that haunts me. No time in prison is enough time, but no amount of time will bring my girl back. I wonder if you will use this time to think about Abigail and think about making better choices when you are released. I pray that any decision you make from now on will not result in the end of someone's life. And I pray you do not put another family through this kind of suffering. I know this video was long, but it was sort of healing for me. And I hope that you get out of this message that your actions, choices you make, can impact others. Don't drink and drive. Please, I beg of you, do not allow another mother to walk in my shoes. Please.